I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to present SB 54, which will protect the safety and well-being of all Californians by ensuring that state and local resources are not used to separate families and ultimately hurt the California economy. This past week, the President confirmed some of our worst fears by signing an executive order on interior immigration enforcement. He will not focus on criminals, as he promised on the campaign trail. Instead, his deportation policy will be a dragnet for thousands, if not millions, of hardworking immigrants. The executive order dramatically blurs the definition of what a serious criminal actually is. For example, it calls for the prioritization of anyone charged with any criminal offense. Anyone who has, quote, committed acts that constitute a chargeable criminal offense. And alarmingly, those who have misrepresented themselves on an application before a governmental agency and abuse any program related to receipt of public benefits. The latter two are particularly troubling if you understand what undocumented immigrants have to do to survive and provide for their families. As is proven by the executive order, the current administration has used fear-mongering rhetoric of immigrants flooding across the border. These scapegoating tactics are not new to us in California, because we all witnessed the divisive campaign of Proposition 187 back in 1994. As we know, because of our own history in California, that draconian immigration policies do not work. They separate mothers from their children, children from their mothers, businesses from their workers, and undermine California's economic viability. Study after study has concluded that immigrants, and yes, undocumented immigrants, too, are less likely to commit crimes than people born in the United States. In spite of those facts, the executive order will target a broad category of mothers, fathers, and children for deportation by relying on states to act as federal immigration agents. State and local participation in immigration enforcement will come at a serious cost to California. The Secure Communities program, which the President has moved to reinstate through the executive order, led to the deportation of thousands of California residents, many without any criminal conviction. Our former president, recognizing its flaws, terminated it. But that program costs California taxpayers an estimated $65 million annually to help ICE detain people. These policies do not work. In fact, these policies do not make our communities safer, and they won't bring more jobs back home to California or the United States. A University of Illinois study found that 44% of Latinos are less likely to contact police officers if they have been victims of a crime because they fear police officers will use the opportunity to inquire about their immigration status. In 2013, this legislative body passed a Trust Act to limit response to so-called ICE detainers. But the executive order makes clear that we need a new policy that provides greater protection against the use of our state and local tax dollars to separate children from their mothers and mothers from their children. Senate Bill 54 does three things. One, it requires state agencies to review and update their confidentiality policies so that Californians are not deterred from seeking services. Two, it requires public schools, public health facilities, and courthouses to remain safe and accessible to all California residents, regardless of immigration status, by limiting immigration enforcement on their premises. And lastly, it prohibits the use of state and local resources to aid in immigration enforcement. No state or local law enforcement agency will detain or transfer a person for deportation unless there is a judicial warrant. It is incumbent on us to put the proper policies in place so that police and other local agencies can focus on their chief responsibility, protecting Californians, not acting as federal immigration agents. Let me be very clear. This measure does not impede the enforcement of federal immigration law. It simply restricts the commandeering of our resources and tax dollars to do the job of the federal government. With me to testify in support are Victor Alvarez, son of Jose Alvarez, who was detained on a Cal State University Long Beach campus, and Santa Ana Councilmember Sal Tinajero. With that, Members, I respectfully ask for a bipartisan aye vote.